One NFL team having a little bit of trouble with it right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt has been Bueller for off-season workouts and so on, as he's looking for a new deal. Another Pittsburgh defensive legend, James Harrison, was on Nightcap, the YouTube show, comes on nightly, and he had a criticism of Mike T.
With Mike, the biggest thing, I guess, that I liked about him is he is a player's coach. And the thing that I disliked about him is he is a player's coach to a point of sometimes it can disrupt, you know what I'm saying? Because it goes maybe a little too far with allowing certain things, you know what I'm saying, with certain players. And then it becomes an issue, you know, with that player. So especially like towards the end of my career, you know, the biggest thing was, you know, you ask a tough question, you get a tough answer. Well, I was asking tough questions and I wasn't getting the answer, you know. I was getting told things that weren't the answer that was the true answer.
Now, I'm about sick and tired of this mess. I really am. You know what this sounds like to me?
Hit me.
You know what the biggest problem is in my marriage? My wife is too pretty. Every time we go out, there's guys talking to her, and we can't even go out on a date. Because every time I get up and go to the bathroom, there's some jabroni walking up there and say, hey, who you with? Despite the big ring on her finger. Like, how can the thing that you like the most about Mike Tomlin also be the thing that you dislike the most about Mike Tomlin? I'm sick and tired of these Pittsburgh Steelers being just not appreciative of what they got. Because the Pittsburgh Steelers, they think they are in NFL purgatory. That's what they think. That's what their fans feel like. And I would challenge you, spend 1 minute as a fan of the New Orleans Saints, 1 minute as a fan of the New York Jets, 1 minute as a fan of the San Diego Chargers.
Recovering.
3 of whom are represented on this show. And I tell you what, all of us would trade the last 25 years of what we've experienced, minus my Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints, but also the last 25 years of what we experienced for the last 25 years of Pittsburgh Steelers football.
I love it. I'm riled up, ready to run through a wall now. The only thinking here is Steelers country, Steelers alum, Martin, still feel like they're on the team.
Sure.
So there's an element where James Harrison's emotionally bought in and upset. Again, we've come, let's just say what it is from an offensive standpoint, post-Roethlisberger. Matt Canada, disaster.
Sure.
Arthur Smith, failing again. I mean, you had Todd Haley, which was all kinds of issues during the Tomlin era. I wonder if there's a little bit of Harrison maybe saying, Tomlin's unbelievable with us, but when it's time to be adults in the room and call out other coaches, maybe he's coach-friendly too? Can we maybe live in that reality?
You have to own that. I think that the hiring and firing of coaches, assistant coaches, I put that on head coaches. I know that it's not as linear as that sometimes. A lot of times the front offices will be involved in the decisions, but I put it on most head coaches that have a lot of power are also the head coaches that are choosing their coordinators and hiring their coordinators. So I put that, if you hire a bad coordinator, that's on you.
And let me throw this to you. Defensive player who held up their side of the bargain every single season pretty much under the James Harrison era. The defense.
Sure.
Do you think there's a world in Pittsburgh Steelers day-to-day life where, yeah, you're sitting there as a defense going, yo, we do this. We're top 10 in points against, pass D or rush D, turnover differential every single Tomlin year. Can we get some reciprocation on the other side of the football?
And I can hear that and be appreciative of it. And sometimes some of those defenses, too, fell in big moments.
Fair.
But the fact is, you get to big moments. Like, that's what I think everybody just misses here. That, like, the Pittsburgh Steelers are starting God knows who at quarterback over the last years and still stay 500. If other organizations had the same roster situations that Pittsburgh does, they would be 3, 4, 5-win teams.
Completely agree.
So it sounds like the GM should be getting the blame that Tomlin's getting, right?
I would agree. I think also too Tomlin probably has a role in that, not as big as a role as like Bill Belichick, who was doing all of it. So I think, is it perfect in Pittsburgh? No. What I like to see, and I think the best teams that you see, like a Kansas City, for example, there's a great marriage between GM and coach, right? They were really working together, but I think Andy will say, I don't want this guy, but I don't think Andy is saying we have to go get this guy, right? And I think that's a big difference. I think that Tomlin could probably stand to take a little walk back there.
Do you also feel when you're a player's coach, leader of men, culture setter like Tomlin, can it often be missed that you might be not as detail-oriented with X's and O's because you're, oh, by the way, building up 53 grown men to be leaders, so you might miss a little bit of details, thus why we've looked at Pittsburgh Steelers football maybe a little bit
so
under.
I do think that I would agree. I'd say, especially when you look at some of the Tomlin numbers off short rest, like the gambling numbers that we would look at, numbers off versus short rest versus long rest. Like the long rest numbers are kind of damaging. It's like that doesn't make a lot of sense. The short rest numbers a little higher than you expect. Oh, because I could just get up here, not a lot of preparation going on there. But the fact of the matter is that you could, like, I sit up I've been doing this show now for 3 years. That's 3 hiring cycles. And I had to sit here and hear about how Mike McDaniel was going to revolutionize football through the X's and O's. And you know what he can't do? Get his players in line. Like, getting your players in line is step 1. Step 2 is then, what are we running here? Because honestly, Tomlin, go hire the hot young name, the hot offensive coordinator. Go hire the defensive coordinator. Go get Ben Johnson if you know what I'm saying, years past or whatever.
I think that has been a big criticism of Tomlin, though. If I can jump in, I think it's just the fact that he's been incapable of building up an offensive staff because he's a defensive guy.
Well, right? I have 2 words for you, gentlemen. That's going to rewrite the entire narrative for this upcoming football season. And the first word starts with A. And the second word starts with R. You know I'm going down with AR, baby.
Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback that Tomlin has had in the last 5 years.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
I think that this is the best shot that they have to win a playoff game in the last 5 years.
If we're going to be all adults, and Aaron Rodgers is married now, I guess, seemingly. Same timeline as our guy Martin here.
Even that can't be normal with Rodgers, though. Right. It's got to be like, oh, yeah, there's
a
ring on my finger,
evidence,
it turns out. Yeah.
But these unbelievable culture teams that win games, it's adults in the room. Brady handles the offense. Belichick handles the rest of the overhead. It's the same thing with Mahomes and Reed and, of course, the whole offensive staff with Mahomes. Can they, Martin, Steelers alum, get in the reality that this could be top talent with top culture and perfect timing on that, Matt?
Top talent. I get your point. I'm not trying to argue, but I do find it interesting that what James Harrison said rather, when he started asking hard questions and he wasn't getting what he deemed to be the right answer. I'd love to know what those questions are. Are those questions, why am I playing less? Not.
Great thought.
Because you hear that as a fan, right? As from where we sit, we hear, hey, what's up with Le'Veon Bell? What do you think when you're asking these hard questions? Hey, what's up with Antonio Brown? Or is the question just James Harrison saying, why am I not playing as much? Why do I have to go to New England and maybe play?
And let's not forget that. He had to leave. I mean, he left. So did he leave on unbelievable terms? Whoever does. Right. Not many.